Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of On That Note. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Calvin. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Let's get into it.
Week 3. How you feeling today?
Feeling good. Feeling great. How are you?
Hey, I can't complain. You know what I mean? We finished another week. I'm about to head into another one.
Right. As most weeks go.
I can't believe it's November, though.
I know. It's crazy.
That's blowing me,
It's
dog.
crazy. Yeah. So have people been sleeping this week, you think, Brandon?
I think they have.
Yeah.
I think so. We should talk a little bit about what they missed while they were sleeping.
Let's do that.
Okay.
While you were sleeping, let's get into it. So this is something that we could have talked about in our Gossip Folks because, we do the new music and all that other stuff. But I just feel like this is somebody that people have slept on. And so I want to talk about it now.
Okay.
So my boy Takeoff from the Migos.
One third of the Amigos.
Yes. yeah, Mr. Takeoff. So he just released a project, The Last Rocket.
Okay.
This week. It's a shorter album. It's like 11 tracks, I want to say. Mm-hmm. But it just goes. It just goes. Like, honestly. Right. So you've heard it.
I did.
You've heard it.
I think I've made it up to all but like the last 2 or 3 songs. Okay. But I was like.
And the thing about it is, it's not so long that you can't get to like the second half of it or whatever it is. You don't get tired of it. It's a good album. It's just, the reason why I put this in the While You Were Sleeping is because people like to think of Quavo as like the Beyonce of the group, if you will.
Yeah.
And then both he and Offset have been giving us more of the solo features. We haven't really been seeing Takeoff get many of the features. Mm-mm. But, Takeoff he carried Migos for a long time. So there was a lot of time where Offset, and this is, so I won't say too much right now because I think that, eventually we might get to these young men in their own episode. But for now, I will say that there was a time where, Quavo, Offset, they were going through some, criminal issues. And
say it ain't so.
And Takeoff, and this was like mixtape era. Takeoff essentially got them to the other side, So we talked about this, one of my favorite Migos songs, Fight Night.
Yes.
He made that song. The float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. That's Takeoff.
That's Takeoff.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure most of that song
is him.
Takeoff. And you know what? If we're calling Quavo the Beyonce, a lot of people like to think of Takeoff as the Michelle. In my mind, he's the Effie White. He's got the voice. Like.
I thought it was keeping it on Destiny's Child.
No, either way it relates.
Maybe he's like Latoya Luckett.
No, but he's Effie. Because the reason why he's Effie is because, and Beyonce was in Dreamgirls too, so it translates.
Okay.
It still works.
I'm gonna stay in the car while you're driving it.
Right. So the reason why he's not just someone that's forgettable, and not to say that Michelle is forgettable, but she was very much the third member of Destiny's Child.
She came in late.
Right.
Yeah,
all of that stuff.
I get it.
But, Effie was not that. Effie, started the group, carried the group for a long time, and then they decided they were going to let somebody else take the lead. Don't do this. Don't do this. I am standing, look, #Takeoff is Effie White. Like, Takeoff is the Effie White of Migos. I'm going to give him that. He's not the Michelle.
Okay. Yeah.
He deserves. And this album was his one night only highlights version.
I'm sorry, this is just so funny. Like, I'm imagining Takeoff like doing his own trap rendition of And I'm Telling You, and it's just giving me a lot. But no, I will say to your points though, I think that Takeoff is very much so like a slept on, like that. He's like that sleeper cell in the Migos. Like, he's very under the radar. You can tell he appears to be a lot more introverted than the other two. But like he don't do a lot of talking. He just delivers.
Right.
But yeah, his project is really good.
Yeah.
And I know that we were talking a bit too, just about just Yeah.
who he is.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
a person.
yeah,
and all,
really
and
just
all that
showing
stuff.
up.
Just like
Yeah.
so he has a great flow. He just rides the beat in a way that is, I don't think the other two do, to be completely honest. Like, he has a flow. He has my favorite flow of the group. And also just musically, it just sounds good. It's a good sounding album. Like, he worked with some really good producers and all that other stuff. So it just works, and it's short. It's a perfect amount of time.
It
like
is.
10 or 11 tracks. That's all I need. So shout out to you, Takeoff.
Yes.
Not slept on anymore. You know,
Okay,
no
that's
more,
right.
no longer a hidden figure, if you will.
He's taking that last rocket straight to the top of the charts. Straight to the top.
Yeah. But who do you have?
So this week, I want to talk a bit about a producer named Ginseng.
Okay.
I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Ginseng. But
I can get the double end. It makes sense that you would be pronouncing it
right.
Yeah.
So he's from California.
Mm-hmm.
He does like these kind of like low key beats. Just like really like relaxing, sort of like just really dope music, like beats. So it's an album instrumentals he released back in 2016 called Solitude.
Okay.
And the song Bright, which is the first song I heard from it, and I cannot for the life of me place where I heard it. Was it an Insecure episode? It was somewhere. I heard this this clip of music, and the clip of music like stood out to me so much. I was like, I need to Shazam it. I need to figure out where this comes from. So it's a whole instrumental album, and it's just, so if anybody else out there is like me, I'm a student right now as well. And a lot of times, because I enjoy listening to music and music helps kind of like pass the time, I like to, have it going while I'm doing work.
Yeah.
But I get distracted very easily when I'm like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I've been singing. I haven't done a damn thing.
Right.
But I found his projects like really good music to put on, and it's like, damn, like he uses a lot of jazz and soul.
Okay.
Kind of samples and stuff.
Okay. Has he ever worked with any artists, or is it all just instrumental stuff?
So on the project, so I checked out his project again, the one Solitude that the song Bright is off. I listened to that whole one. Then I listened to, he released another EP within the last few years called the Meditation EP.
Okay.
And both of those projects, I'm pretty sure all of his stuff is just him, like his beats.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, each song is no more than like 2 or so minutes.
Okay.
So it's like kind of quick, but it's still like maybe a 40-minute project or something like that. Sure. Enough for you to sink your teeth into, but I think that, a lot of us are, doing any number of things, whether it's homework or studying or doing housework. And sometimes it's cool to just have like some good, like soulful infused hip hop to like just play in the background. So check it out. Check this out.
Maybe follow-up question.
Okay.
Put him with an artist. So since he doesn't work with anyone, who would you put on his music? What artist would fit well with his music?
Ooh. Okay. You good for like a mic drop question. Dang, who would I put on this music?
Like, who does he sound like, you think? If
I could really see him. I would love to hear like even like a her on some of his beats. Honestly, some of like what he's done is kind of reminiscent of what they did with the KTSE album with Tiana Taylor.
Okay.
Like those soulful samples with the hip hop flavor.
And
so
that,
I could see that.
Kanye was good for that for a while, and he still is, and I will give him that, and that's all I will give him.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So check Ginseng out. Solitude is the project in particular, but he has a ton of stuff. So really dope.
Awesome.
Nice.
All
right. So I think it's time to get into some gossip, folks.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the things that have happened over the past week. First, I guess we can pick up with, we gave y'all a not so friendly PSA last week about what you should be doing in terms of your Halloween costumes.
Yeah.
Most people listened. There was that one nurse somewhere that didn't listen.
Of course.
And dressed up in blackface as Beyonce and got promptly fired, as she deserved, because that's what happens when you F with the queen.
Some mother dressed her white son up as a slave and sent him to school. Put him in blackface, put him in chains, put him in rags, and sent him to school and was like, "Oh, I didn't understand why this would be an issue."
Lies.
First of all, why would you want to? Why?
How old was this child? It had to have been a child.
Yeah. Well, like maybe 8 or 9.
Okay, not old enough to really say I'm not doing this bullshit. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Just
so
call CPS.
whatever. But we did get some good Halloween costumes.
Yes, we did. Celebrities did not disappoint this year. Okay. Yeah. Where do we start?
Let's see. Well, we talked about Tiana Taylor last week with the katana outfit. That was really interesting. Oh my God, her body is sickening.
It is.
I don't know.
Has been, probably always will.
Yeah, and it's not built either.
Right.
So
okay, all natural.
Good for her.
Do your thing, mama.
Good for her.
I love her. She's amazing.
Yeah. Also, I really liked Sierra. You know, the Dora Milaje. You know, like from Black Panther.
It's funny because she dropped those pics like right around like when we were about to upload episode.
Too little, too late.
And I was like, well, so we were able to sneak it into something like the promo, but I was like, all right, Sierra.
Right.
I mean, Kelly Rowland and her husband.
Another Black Panther.
I mean,
just a different type,
like,
right?
But loved it.
Yes.
Loved it. Let's see. Who else we get into? So, as y'all may have saw the clip of Diddy on Ellen DeGeneres talking about he ain't scared of no clowns. Right. And then Ellen got that ass.
Right.
But this is the amazing thing about Diddy. Diddy knows how to turn a situation. So when he came... okay? So when he came and did you see the clips on his IG of him dancing
in the hall?
Yes, with his son?
Yeah.
That was so freaking dope.
Somebody tweeted and was like, the length of that hallway called me poor. And I said, dude, just save my life. I mean, damn. Like, this hallway's got hallways. Right.
God.
Right.
Talk about the wealth. Oh.
The wealth.
So, yes. And then... You said that you really enjoy Miguel.
Yeah, so him and his girlfriend, let me just say this right. So Nazanin Mandi, I believe is her name.
Okay.
Or Mandy. They dressed up, so he was Sexual Chocolate. And she dressed up as Prince. So very similar, like kind of 80s, you know, Soul Glow, like the shoulder padded suits and all that stuff. But it was really cute. And kind of like a gender bender thing, which was like cool. Dope. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was really dope. But
so y'all know, I mean, there's someone who just always slays Halloween. So we had to say the best for last. No shade to everybody else. We love y'all too. But the queen bee herself.
She always does it.
She
does it more than once in 1 year.
She does.
Like she does it and then she comes back and she's like, oh, wait.
Oh,
hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah, I thought I was finished.
Right.
Okay. So first and foremost, I just really love what she's done. And I mean, actually, it's been longer than I think the past 2 years.
Yeah.
But I don't know if she wrote the post like she did.
Because she's been talking to us a lot more via IG this year.
Right. Yeah. So like last year, you know, when she did the Lil' Kim tribute, and of course that just melted my heart because again, love you, queen.
Right.
But then this year, she just tributed another queen who is so deserving.
Yeah.
Toni Michelle Braxton.
Yeah. That was so good.
It was so amazing.
Good. Oh my God.
It was amazing. Like, and just to take us back to that first album, like first and foremost, let's get into how Beyonce only gives us black hair.
Right.
When like, you know.
I know. She's
like,
just not. She's like,
you know what I mean?
No, I feel that.
Oh my gosh!
But she also she's done Salt and Pepper too, and she's given shout outs. She does that. She shouts out women in the game, which good for her. Good for her. Good for her. And then also another woman that she shouted out, maybe not in the music game, but shows she and Jay-Z, right?
Yes. They dressed up as like historic Black Olympians.
Yes.
Florence Griffin Joyner, who you may better know as FloJo, who is like the fastest woman like in the world, like during her time, and just really FloJo was so innovative because she brought herself as a black woman to that stage.
Yeah.
She gave you the long nails. She gave you the uniform with the one leg out because she said she had the body, so deal.
Right.
Love it. So just very like just groundbreaking, way ahead of her time.
Exactly.
Sadly,
being like unapologetically black,
exactly.
which seems like a new thing, but you know, for her to be doing that so long ago, and then Jay-Z.
If we're talking about unapologetically, dressing as Tommy Smith, who was one half of the duo at the I want to say 1968 Summer Olympics. They won, I want to say first and second place, and they protested by raising their fists, which, I mean, it's just amazing, right? Juxtapose that with the kneeling in contemporary times.
Which I'm sure is something that was discussed in the Carter household.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
They love to speak to us. And signs and wonders, not equating them to the Lord.
Right. Not at all.
Okay, but so yeah, they just they just always give it to us.
Thoughtful.
I just appreciate it.
It is appreciated. Yeah. Yeah.
So
shout out.
Yeah, shout out to everybody that did the right thing.
Right.
And just really gave us a look to remember this Halloween.
Yeah.
So now getting into someone that we actually just mentioned a few moments ago, in terms of Halloween.
Yeah.
Teyana Taylor. Teyana Taylor is the new face of a lipstick line that is a collaboration between the Wu-Tang Clan, who is like probably the most unlikely.
Right.
Like,
I would have never put. Yeah. Why is Wu-Tang coming out with a lipstick? No, look, I have zero issue with it.
Right.
But that's very interesting.
But it's interesting too because I've like read about it, I've seen it, but I don't know how nuanced the conversation around it has been. But I think that's like pretty dope because I feel like at a point in time, like you would have had people, even though we know that having a business venture like that does not mean anything in terms of like male identity, sexual expression, anything like that. Well, but we know how people conflate. A lot of times people conflate those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, people
especially
very intelligent.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially like, and a lot of times we like to also place the label on hip hop, and not saying that it's undeserved of,
it has to be hyper masculine.
Right. Yeah. And anti any sort of like fluidity when it comes to that space. So to see like a groundbreaking group, like and just like a very well respected group in hip hop
and hardcore group,
right?
Wu-Tang Clan and nothing to fuck with.
Okay, today, tomorrow, or next year.
Exactly, and y'all gonna fuck with this lipstick.
Get into it though. So it's a collaboration with Milk Cosmetics, Milk Makeup, and the tubes are $55 a piece, but it's kind of dope. Like if you see it, they have like a gold, like it look like dragons like around the like tube, and they have like the etching on it. It's you're getting a high class product with that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was
Fenty Beauty was like, let me get a piece.
Listen, and I ain't even mad.
Right.
But she's the face of their campaign.
Yeah,
so
Teyana Taylor is.
They released a commercial spot or like an ad, and she's giving the girls, a little.
Yeah. Now that makes sense because didn't she just release? I saw that there was a song. Well, she released a remix.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
Of
Gonna Love Me.
Yes, with the Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
So
wow,
it's really dope to see like all that come together.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because I feel like her album era didn't get what it should have got.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other conversation. But yes, so that's really dope. Be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
Again, one tube is $55, or you can pay $440 for the girls that got it. For the whole collection.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to Wu-Tang and Teyana Taylor for doing some like really innovative things. And I love seeing that artists are like really diversifying their ventures these days.
Right, exactly. You gotta have more than one source of income.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you kick off the next story. Because I just want your takes on it.
I don't have very many takes.
No, you do.
I don't think that I do. So the thing about it is, I mean, Bow Wow lost a girlfriend and Young M.A. got one. And that's really the start and finish of it. They just happen to be the same woman. So,
Listen.
And the girl, I mean, I didn't even know the girl's name, but
Yeah,
Kiyomi, why do we care about this young woman? Is she a model? Is she a reality superstar?
I ain't even gonna hold you. I can't give you too much on sis.
I can give you some on Bow Wow. I won't.
Okay.
But I know we all know who Bow Wow is. We all know who Young M.A. is.
I'm tired.
But you know, and it's not even. Bow Wow is just having a terrible, no good time of it all. Whether it's a year or like within the last, I don't know, few years, he just can't seem to win.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Though. Do you think that this would have been as big a news if, I mean, not saying that it was like, you know, stop the press.
Right.
But do you think that people would have been talking about it if she had just moved on from him to another male rapper? Or is it just like, oh, the shock of it all, the scandal of it all?
Some, but not as much. Mm-hmm. So what I mean by that is, if it was another celebrity, of course it would have been talked about.
Oh, for sure.
But I think it doesn't matter to me as much that it was Young M.A., but I think for most people, especially men, it's like there's something about losing your woman to a woman or whatever. It's just, I don't know, it's like patriarchal and has everything to do with like the male gaze, you know, like the idea of like women loving women outside of a male influence, you know what I'm saying, or sexual gratification. It's just like, what? Like two women and there's no man involved,
right?
But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a big deal to me.
Right.
I know that it probably was for other people, and that's why they were dogging him out.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, you win some, you lose some. Right. What I want for Bow Wow, one, probably therapy. Two, and I mean that very seriously.
No.
And I don't know. Maybe he needs somebody good on his team. He needs to turn the story around. He needs to come out on top somehow. And I'm not sure what that looks like. I don't want to see him in any movies. I don't want to see any music. So maybe he can come out with a lipstick line, and we can talk about that. But yeah, I'm rooting for you, kid.
I really think that Bow Wow's next career move after this season of Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta Raps, I really think that he should look into getting an episode of Iyanla Fix My Life.
Okay.
Probably.
But from there, go where?
To the counselor that you Because I tell people that, you know, Iyanla in and of herself is not the bee's knees in terms of like a therapy.
No, it'll give us some entertainment.
But you know, you know, there's a certain value to that. But at the same time though, that I do think that some of like what her show is supposed to do is to get people open to the idea of talking to people. Maybe Bow Wow, in all seriousness, Bow Wow doesn't need to be on another TV platform or anything. But I do think that if we're thinking about Orlando Brown that we discussed last week, we think about Bow Wow. These are both two instances of child stars that probably were exposed to way more than they should have been.
Oh, 100%.
And didn't quite get the nurture and development fully that they needed.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's manifested itself now, and there seems to be like a searching for identity and trying to figure out who am I now. You know, man, I'm not as popular. My records aren't selling as much.
Mm-hmm.
People know me more for scandal than they do for talent. I don't know how to manage or process through all of that. So, you know, it is with Bow Wow, because I don't know, Bow Wow just is a little bit funnier to laugh at sometimes just because it's antics. Yeah. But at the same time, there have been very serious things that Bow Wow has exhibited publicly. And so, you know, all in all, you know, after the jokes about some of his antics,
Right.
like with the real serious stuff, it is like kind of more sober and like, okay, Bow Wow, like get some help, brother, because we still got love for you, but
Absolutely.
this ain't the bee's knees.
But yeah,
so
yeah. Let's do some music.
Yes,
let's do some music.
Yes.
So a new single from Miss Ariana, who we've spoken about on the show, Ariana Grande. She just released a new single. Apparently, people feel like her and Pete Davidson are going back and forth. You know, they've broken up. And he's been talking on SNL. She's been tweeting.
Did you see the SNL spot though that she responded to?
Yeah.
Okay. It didn't seem like a big deal, but
it wasn't.
I think she's just very emotionally raw right now.
Yeah. And even beyond that, I don't even think her response was incredibly belligerent.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And even with this song. So the song that we're talking about, so she tweets essentially after the show, she just tweets like, "Thank you, next." Yeah. And so that was like, of course, everyone was like, whoa, you know, think she throwing shade or whatever. And so
everybody did what?
And so she releases the song called "Thank You, Next." And she's essentially just talking about her exes and where she is right now and pouring. And I've been reading up a lot on Ariana, just because we've been talking about, and we talked about before, how she's an artist that we consistently follow.
Right.
And just knowing everything that she's gone through this year, she's somebody that I intentionally check up on, and it just it seems to me that she's just really working really hard on her music and trying to get into the studio and do all of that and make a positive out of all of this negative. Yeah. And that's what this song is, honestly. It's not a shady song. Mm-mm. It's not a, all of my exes are trash or anything. She talks about Big Sean, she talks about Mac Miller, she talks about Pete Davidson. And what she essentially says is like, all of those were experiences that I needed to go through. Yeah. All of those were like moments, but I've got to move on. It's essentially the thing. So very much thank you. Next. Like I can't dwell on this. I can't think about what's going on with my exes. And I have to believe that the latter will be greater than the last. For sure. And so very introspective piece. It is. And it's not the song of the year by any means. You can tell that it was like maybe she spent a week in the studio just coming up with the song, but it is very introspective. It's a nice song. It's a nice song. And I respect her for releasing it. So absolutely, because I will say that one thing about Ariana Grande is where she's the type of artist that she has talent. Mm-hmm. She started off like she wasn't ever too sugary pop. So I appreciated that. Mm-hmm. But there was still very much so that cutesy with the ponytail bopping around, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I think that we're starting to see the layers. Mm-hmm. And here's where I'm going to take it, right? So a lot of course, there are the Mariah Carey comparisons because she can hit the notes. Right. And that's really the only... songs. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if you really kind of look at kind of like the trajectory, we didn't really start seeing that shedding of the pop princess until about that 4th, 5th album when we're starting to get to the Daydream, your Daydream, and really with the Butterfly. So I think that, and it also kind of, I thought about that too when I'm thinking about somebody that just knows how to, we say it wasn't shade, but just like she knows how to like read a situation, you know what I mean, and not necessarily always have to be like just blatant with it. It's just like subtle. Like so I think that it's almost kind of like seeing Ariana Grande is like kind of on a certain trajectory. Yeah. So again, curious to see what comes next. But shout out to Growth. That's always great. So speaking of like another artist that's like continuing to grow and evolve and it's just all around amazing. As you may or may not know, her released part 2 of her EP, which I don't know about everybody else. Maybe I was lost. I didn't realize there was going to be a part 2 coming. So maybe most people didn't. Maybe it wasn't a thing that people knew. I feel like it was a surprise. Yeah. Like, and a pleasant one. So she released the I Used to Know Her Part 1 EP, which is like the prelude to her album, back at the beginning of September, I want to say, or maybe sometime in late August. One of those. And I mean, just
blew our wigs back, parted down the middle. Shout out to my friend E that always is saying that. But with this part two, it's a lot. I'll tell you what kept on coming to me when I was listening to it.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that this young woman is 21.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy to think, because then I started thinking about, like, well, Beyonce was 21 when Dangerously in Love came out, or like, other artists were younger.
Maxwell, one of my favorite albums in the world, Urban Hang Suite, written by Maxwell, he was 23. And if you think about what that album is, like a 23-year-old like, making an album like that, how?
But like, you know, with her, I mean, and I think it's amazing to me because everybody experiences life at different ages and, you know, depending on where you come from. But I think it's even more impressive to me that she's able to articulate
through the music
in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she has some amazing joints on this project. There's a song, I'm Not Okay, where she just talks about not, like, just being real. Like, I'm not okay. I don't want to have to put on and say, you know, put on a brave face today or this or that. And I just want to be, like, honest with you. Like, I'm not okay. A couple of other ones that I just really like is Take You There.
Mm-hmm.
And another one that I really like, too, is the last song. And it's called Lord Is Coming.
Okay. And
it's very much so there's a word I'm looking for. It's talking about pretty much like all that's going on in society, and talking about like the Lord is coming back, but it definitely feels a lot more metaphorical than like literal.
Okay.
But it was just the imagery that she conjures, how she uses spoken word intermingled with the
so kind of allegorical maybe or something.
Yes. I knew it was some literary terms but yes, it was just, I was like, whoa, what a way to close this EP.
Yeah.
So check it out. I used to know her part too.
And I will say that there's something about, maybe it's just the times that we're living in, and we saw this with the Parkland shooting, right? These kids are just a lot more introspective.
For sure.
They just,
you have to be.
And it's kind of right. I was going to say it's kind of sad and unfortunate that they have to be that way, but they're growing up so quickly.
Yeah.
And I think that puts them in a place where they just understand things on a deeper level a little bit more, which is nice, you know. But again, it's just kind of unfortunate that it happens in that way.
You know, but it's kind of like a harkening back to your point, thinking about your soul artists back in like the 60s and 70s. You know, Otis Redding was only 26 when he passed away in that plane crash, right? So like the music he was putting out before then, you know, he's singing from a place of, I've been through some things, right? So it's whenever you do have that societal backdrop of just a lot of stuff is happening, a lot of different movements, a lot of different, I don't know, I think you get art like this from younger and younger people.
This is a great segue.
Yes. Oh, speaking of what's going on.
Yeah. What is going on today, if you're listening to this when you're supposed to be listening to this. Just gonna knock on wood with that one. But today should be election day, November 6th.
Yes, indeed.
Hopefully you're listening to this in the wee hours of the morning so you can plan your day accordingly. You know, your lunch break, get off early, head to the poll. Honestly, I believe that election day should be a national holiday, and I don't understand why it's not.
I don't either. Because we can't, I'm sorry, but that just sent me off on something. We can't say that something is so important, but then we place so many barriers.
Right. Oh.
To letting people.
Well, that's because... Lord have mercy. And we don't have the time to talk about all of the barriers that have been placed against individuals trying to vote. But that is why it is even it is so much more essential that you get out and vote. And I know that a
Absolutely.
lot of people feel, and they felt this way in 2016, they feel um, kind of disillusioned, and they
Mm-hmm.
feel like, you know, the two-party system doesn't really work. I'm not really going up for Democrats or Republicans. I don't really care. All of that other stuff. Um, the only thing that I will say on that is, and I was talking about this maybe a few days ago, there has to be room for operating within a system while trying to, I don't know,
Transform it.
transform it. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
was going to say overthrow, but that's a little strong. And I don't know who's listening to this. So, transforming the system, you know, because
Sure.
you have to be able to do both. You know, it can't be a situation where it's just like, I'm just not going to participate because I don't believe in what's going on right now or I want there to be change. That is almost nonsensical. You know, it's just
Right.
like, I will refuse to act because I want action.
Exactly.
So please, 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 please get out, go vote, um, do what you need to do for yourself, do what you need to do for the people that have fought for your right to be able to do so. Um, you know, it's just it's so essential and so important, especially right now. This is a very important year for you all to be voting. So
Absolutely. So, I mean, to add to that, I would say that, I would even count myself as one of the people that have along the way gotten somewhat disillusioned or have experienced at times jaded feelings around the act of voting, right?
mhm.
And I think it's because I have felt that you always hear people say, go vote, go vote, go
Yeah,
vote, but okay, what else,
yeah,
right? Especially when we see, people voting, and then you feel like the system isn't changing or the same people are remaining in power.
yeah,
We know that. I mean, again, this where we are right now as a society is just so much corruption. Not to say corruption wasn't happening before, but
yeah.
it's
No, I
just, you
understand.
know what I mean,
This
to the
is
point.
different. Right
It
now
right.
is different
It's
than
like,
it
you
has
know what I
been.
mean?
It
Like, I'm
absolutely has.
participating in the system, but it's like, okay, are y'all counting the votes? Or are y'all just pick at this point? Are you just like going and picking your friends and just putting them in office? As we've seen with some of the highest positions in the land. So it's been very important to me to really manage through that by figuring out, okay, what should the messaging include? Because it can't just be go vote.
Yeah.
Okay, go vote and
Yeah.
and so I posed that question to my Facebook
Okay.
friends recently, and a lot of the sentiments um, were just around, yes, like voting is really the first step, but being informed when
Yes.
you go to vote.
Right.
So it starts before, right? Knowing what are the issues in your community,
Mm-hmm.
knowing who are the key players, who is really positioned to change some things. Are those people in power? What can you do to help make it so that you support their platform to allow them to get to a place where they can do work in the community? What are you involved with? What are you
Yeah.
connected to? Um, being knowledgeable about the issues, knowing what is impacting, again, not just you personally, but your community.
Right.
Um,
And then also, I would just say understanding how voting works, because
Very true.
don't. A lot of people don't understand the process of voting and like what positions get votes.
Right.
And I think that I don't know. I mean, it's just you have to be, and I won't fault anyone for not understanding the process
For
because it's
sure.
not something that is intentionally taught to us, at least
No.
not hammered into our brains, and so it has to be something that you have to go out and do the research on. But
For
you have
sure.
to do it. You just have to do it.
You
It's
do.
so very important. So y'all, please go out.
Yes. Go vote.
Rock the vote.
Yes.
Vote or die. All of
All
that.
that good stuff. And remain engaged beyond the election season, because a lot of the things that happen, particularly in terms of disenfranchisement and the redrawing of boundary lines and voting districts, and
Yep.
the requiring certain identification, a lot of this stuff happens right after elections,
Mhm.
or when we've just voted, so people aren't paying attention. So
Exactly.
definitely stay stay woke,
Yes,
and stay
exactly.
informed even
Right,
more so.
right,
So
exactly.
yeah, get out and vote.
Yes.
So I think now,
We're
we
ready.
can.
Yeah.
Are we ready to go there?
We are.
Okay.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's go on to our noteworthy section. So, y'all, we have been doing something, something a little secretive,
Ooh.
and we're hoping that you all maybe are able to figure it out. So we're in our first season. You know,
Yes.
if you all are paying attention, we have seasons and we have episodes. Our season is, at least as far as our noteworthy section is concerned, is themed.
Yes.
And so we have a theme for the season that we've been running with, and we will continue to run with today. And we're hoping some of you all can figure it out. Maybe there's more than one theme. We don't know.
Ooh.
So let's just get some theories out there, and have you guys writing us some notes to figure all of that out.
Yes.
But so for today, we're also doing something a little bit different.
Yes.
Which is nice. I'm excited about this too. So we actually got a note from Courtney. Courtney, shout out to you.
Yeah, hey Courtney.
My girl Courtney. But so she made a lot of suggestions for us. She gave us, and it was great. She gave us like so many people that we can discuss in the future and themes and all that other stuff that we will definitely be using. But also today, she kind of, between her and then our note from Kevin last week, kind of inspired what we want to be doing for this episode and for the next episode.
Yes.
So what we're doing is a little bit of, I think we're gonna call it a battle of the bands.
Right. Even though it's like not bands, but y'all know what we mean.
Exactly. and not really a battle.
Right.
But we are, it's a little adversarial, I will say. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna essentially pit two boy bands this week against each other. And we're just gonna, have their work battle it out for them, if you will. And so we have our two boy bands for this week. So, and we also have our two sides.
We do.
So I will be going up for 112.
Yeah, Team 112
yeah,
over there.
I'm Team 112 over here. And then obviously, of course.
I'm Team JE, Team Jagged Edge.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right. So, and honestly, I'm going to be completely transparent. You 100% love Jagged Edge more than I love 112. I like 112 a lot, but I know, and we just said this last week, Jagged Edge is your group.
Yes, I do like them a lot.
So take from that what you will, but we're gonna do this. We're gonna get into it a little bit, and have some conversation. So we're gonna have rounds,
Yes.
and honestly, kind of maybe have some of y'all decide who wins out in the end. But so for our first round, what do we have?
We are going to be talking about singles. So we're going to have 3 singles from each of the groups, and we're going to just talk about the songs a little bit, and what we like about the songs. Of course, we're going to dialogue about, okay, well, how do you feel that this song stack up to this song? And so we're going to go, round 1 is singles.
Yeah,
Round
singles. Round 1 is singles.
Yes.
Why don't you get off?
Okay. Sure. So just a little bit about Jagged Edge. They dropped their first album in '98.
Yeah.
Signed to So So Def.
Right.
So, out the A, So So Def is like one of the quintessential like Atlanta record labels. But dropped their album Jagged Era in '98. And the big song from that album is I Gotta Be.
Okay.
So, and that's pretty much like their first single. And so I think the thing that I love about that particular song is, you have like that very like sweet, that kind of beat that's just, the beat isn't doing too much, but the group really shines over it.
Yeah.
And the writing really shines. And that's one thing that when I think about Jagged Edge and their songs, I won't say, every song, but for the most part, a lot of their songs is definitely just like, heartfelt, soulful lyrics. And with the song I Gotta Be, I remember on their episode of Unsung that came on back in the spring, Candy was saying actually that I'm pretty sure that she was dating one of the twins.
Candy Burrs.
Yes.
Okay.
She was also like their manager or something like that for a bit. Okay.
Miss Candy.
Go up for Candy, y'all. Go up for Candy Burrs Tucker, y'all. But I think she was saying that whichever twin she was dating wrote that song about their relationship. So, but I mean, but just think about it, right? So I just want to say a few of the lyrics from
Let It Out.
I Gotta Be, right?
Let It Out.
I gotta be the one you touch.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have laughed at you. I really enjoyed. I know this is your song. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Baby, I gotta be the one you love.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I gotta be the one you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta be the one to fill your life with sunshine.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that's really sweet. You don't really hear that as much these days.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And when you look at Jagged Edge, like they weren't in the matching like short sets with the sweater vests like Boys to Men.
Okay.
So
I'm like, who are we throwing shade at?
Not shade. It was just a different era. It was a Jagged era. Which also is interesting because, you know, again, like, one, they're coming with a different look, but their sound is just very, you know, soulful and just rich, and, you know, they're giving you harmonies.
They are. They do have really tight harmonies.
Like, it's very beautiful, and the songwriting is beautiful.
Yeah.
Even, like, when you look at them, I almost want to say, like, they're kind of like a juxtaposition of Jodeci and Boys to Men.
Okay.
If I had to, like, pick one.
Yeah.
So I Gotta Be is definitely like their single that kicked everything off.
Yeah. So I think maybe similarly, with 112, so they were signed to Bad Boy, you know, which gives you a different vibe, but so very much that 90s era, you know, between So So Def, Bad Boy, just like running the game as far as labels are concerned.
Legit.
And so their first album, 112, you know, kind of a self-titled album, came out in 96.
Yes.
And their song from that album that I'm gonna put up, you know, kind of to go against I Gotta Be, was Cupid. Great song.
That
you know?
a good one.
So, Cupid, and again, if we're talking about the lyrics, you know, Cupid doesn't lie, but you won't know unless you give it a try. You know, he says, you know, when I tell you I love you, that doesn't mean that I don't care. You know, when I tell you I need you, that doesn't mean that I'll never be there. You know, so it's basically just like convincing the person that you love, like, the things that I'm telling you are true. You know, I'm not like, this isn't a game that I'm kicking to you. This isn't whatever. This is just like me telling you how I feel about you. And that's just so very sincere. And again, with 112, you know, and that was a standard with the boy bands of the 90s. Like, you have to come with the tight harmonies. Yes. You have to be, you know, given that type of vibe. For sure. But yeah, I would say that Cupid for sure on that first album was one that just really stuck out. And still, you know, you could listen to that track today.
Oh, for sure.
And it would still play really well. So, and
it's interesting because those songs do, like, thematically even, they're very pretty similar. Yeah.
Very similar.
Okay, so let's get into our second single.
What you got?
Okay, so I'm going to move it on to their sophomore album. And one little smash hit known as Let's Get Married.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I can't imagine how many people in the last, like, probably, like, almost 20 years have, like, had that song.
It's going to be looped in somehow.
Legit. Like, you just have to. And for the record, I'm talking about the original version of Let's Get Married. Unpopular opinion, I cannot stand that damn remix.
Well, it's because the original is so good. It's so and I can't. I mean, I have to give it to them.
You gotta give 10s where
it's just right, and it is. It's a 10 for me. I love that song. It's. I mean, can we figure out like songwriters production for that track?
I'm pretty sure.
And while
I
you're
knew Brian Michael Cox was in there somewhere, and JD. And the twins, which the twins did. They're typically credited as the writers for a lot of their stuff. For a lot of Jagged Edge's songs, like you usually got them at the helm.
Yeah.
And they usually sing the leads too.
Right.
But I mean, so it's interesting, right? Because I mean, it's definitely like a very sweet song. Even though sometimes when you listen to it, it's kind of like, once you get a little older, it's kind of like, we ain't get no younger, so we might as well do it.
Right.
It's kind of like a little bit of a casual, like, I noticed you weren't hard to miss.
Yeah.
You're gonna throw it back to that moment.
Exactly.
But it's but at the end of the day, it's still
all the other lyrics.
All the other lyrics,
pretty,
right? I just so like, let's get married, and you get the feeling that like, yo, like it's like really like I want to do this.
Yeah.
But again, you know that chorus is just
the music. Yeah.
You didn't hear a lot of men really talking about let's get married,
right?
Like let's do this.
Yeah.
It was kind of like and even now, you know, a lot of people still think that men are more so like you have to convince into like the whole marriage thing, but you have these guys that are just like, no, like let's get married, like so that's just always just like a very cool to think that they released a song like that.
Now, it's funny, you were talking about instrumentals earlier. I could listen to this, and I mean, of course, the words are beautiful. I could listen to the music from this song on repeat. Yes. It's just so beautiful.
It is.
Through and through.
Yeah.
So, yes. Oof. Yeah.
Okay, what about you? What you got?
Alright, so what I have, I'm pretty sure this is from their sophomore album also, Room 112. Oof. Which is another, right, exactly. And we will get there as far as the album is concerned. But the song from that album that I'm gonna put up is Love You Like I Did. And so that's another, if you know, Let's Get Married is on the front end of things. I love you so much. I want to exactly. Love You Like I Did is a little bit of the other side. You know, it's just like what we have is no longer. But I know that no one else out there is going to be able to do for you what I'm able to do for you.
Right.
And that's something that I just connect with on a personal level. And also just something that is so very like, I don't know. It's another vulnerable thing. The same way where men talking about vulnerability of like, I'm gonna marry you. Also the vulnerability of like, I have lost someone. You know, and I'm not gonna go back out and try to get the next piece of tail or whatever. Exactly. Like I still want you. Exactly. You know? And another reason
That's such a good point.
Another reason why I really, really love this song is one thing I can appreciate about a song is a great bridge. Like I like a bridge can literally, for lack of better words, take you from one side to the other because it's just.
It's so true though.
And you don't really get very many like good bridges right now. It was a standard in like 90s R&B writing.
For sure.
You know?
For sure.
But I just love a good bridge. And I like so the bridge to this song, it really does I don't know how else to say it. It really just takes you to the end when they're like vocalizing and you know, kind of like that begging and pleading moment. It's just like you go from the kind of consistent like first verse, chorus, first verse, chorus, then you get to the bridge, and it's just like, you know, he's talking about like, how could you leave me? I did everything for you. You'll never find another man to love you like I can. You know, all this other stuff. It's just great. It's a really great bridge, and it sounds really good too. I think musically, it builds in a way, and I think a really good bridge builds so that you have that climax moment, because a bridge is very much the climax of the song. And then you have the resolution where you're just kind of vocalizing and singing, nobody, you know, like you sing it like, I love that part. Like,
even if they weren't going through a breakup, hell, I couldn't tell. They sang the hell out of that song.
They did at the end, like Slim, like he just goes in at the end. Yeah. You know, like who's gonna take care of you? Nobody. Who's gonna be a friend to you? Nobody. Like, I was always there. You know, all that stuff. So,
Okay, so
That's
I
my
guess we
one.
could say like the second single is all about R&B male group vulnerability.
Yes, right. Exactly.
Alright. So with that being the case, I think for the third single we're gonna pit head to head.
Yeah.
We're leaving the heartfelt
Yeah.
stuff.
We're gonna have a little fun.
Okay, we going to the club.
Yeah. It's 11:30.
Okay. Jump in. But no, so the third single I'm putting up from Jagged Edge is just a little ditty known as known as Where the Party At with Nelly. And this is like what, like 03? I want to say like when Jagged Little Thrill came out. And I remember being in the car going somewhere with, I think we were like going on family vacation, probably driving down to Atlanta, honestly. For the summer, and I remember like that song coming on.
It's a summer
like,
jam.
It
man.
is.
It's just, I'm just sitting here. I don't know. You probably see me
I
just like dancing.
Hey,
yeah.
Yeah.
You remember the dance? Everybody was doing the little foot dance. Yeah.
Like, but just a fun song, like a party song, and for Jagged Edge, that was a bit of a market difference.
Yeah.
Like
and what they were doing usually.
You know what I'm saying? Like they always kind of led an album with a like a slower cut. You know, the first single off the first album is I Gotta Be. The first single off of Jay Heartbreak is He Can't Love You.
Yeah.
So it was like that slower kind of joint. And even when you listen to their albums up to that point, there weren't a lot of those like up tempo, like radio ready, in that way, club bangers.
Okay.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So to get Nelly on the track, which in 03, Nelly is
I still know the whole
like,
verse.
Okay, like, somebody tell me where the party at, dirty, so rich, right around 1:30, never get that too early. Jack and Biz with the rose, not the one with the stems, the one with the rims, the one that seems to make my enemies and friends. I'm like, big friends. Both with the SOSODE dot F bottles until there ain't none left. Quick to go. Okay. We don't. I felt like that was like a Family Guy moment.
Yeah, right.
The joke.
Right.
Hopefully y'all can appreciate that rap with us. But I say all that to say that this is just a very much on like a fun track. I remember buying this single on vinyl. Like I bought this as a vinyl single.
Remember when you used to be able to buy singles?
Oh my god!
Just like they would come out with the actual, yeah.
I used to have so many cassette singles. But
that's a good one. That's a good one.
You know what I mean? It's just a very fun song. It showed versatility. It gave us another side. And you, one of my favorite parts is toward the end, where you have Wingo who comes in like. And do my south side right, like, cause I mean he is going in like as he's singing this, but it was like okay, like we gonna get a little piece of the action, like, but it really that as a single really again showed a different side to Jagged Edge. And I do appreciate moments like that for artists where you get a glimpse into, okay, this, like, they're not just the balladeers. Like, they can give you, like, the club, the radio, you know, smash single. And the album that followed, Jagged Little Thrill, was definitely, it had the same, like, formula of the, you know, the R&B songs. But it definitely gave you a couple of songs that were a bit more up-tempo. So... Where the party at?
Where the party at?
All right. What you got for me?
For 112, and it's probably, you know, if y'all are following, just kind of thematically, you'll probably figure out where I'm going with this because this next track was a banger, a lot like Where the Party At was.
Yes, Lord.
And maybe for different reasons, maybe I shouldn't have been listening to this song as young as I was, and, you know, understanding... and not understanding at the same time. So the song that I'm talking about is Peaches and Cream, obviously.
Okay.
And shout out to, Mario Winans.
Yeah.
But
okay.
But
yeah.
So
you know.
Exactly. So Peaches and Cream. What I love about this song also, which again is missing from music right now, double entendre.
Right.
Give me give me a song that is just unabashedly sexual,
Yeah.
and I have to figure out that that's the case.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
right.
you know, like there's no like, and even with the edited, because I heard the edited version a lot more than I heard like the unedited version, especially like with the radio cut and all of that stuff. And it's just like it wasn't the fact that the song was like super bleeped out and like a whole lot of missing parts. It was just words were changed. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a part where in the edited track he says, got your arms around my neck so I can't get up.
Yes.
In the unedited track, you know, it's the legs. So now
why were her legs around his neck?
And why can't
okay, what's pop? What type of peaches?
Maybe they're not eating dessert.
That's not how I eat a different type of peach cobbler, okay?
Yeah, but it's just like for that song to be what it was.
Yeah.
And for them to be talking about it in a way that's just like, yeah, I'm talking about peaches and cream. You know, and it's just like, that's just, I don't know. I just love that because it's like smart in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
And creative. And I just love that creativity. But then also, it was, again, a banger. It was. Yeah.
And when Peaches and Cream came out, you heard that song everywhere.
Yes.
Like you were
it was
saying.
Everywhere.
And I remember, so now I have, I'm pretty sure all of 112's albums in my collection, but at the time, off the strength of actually the first single from that album, but then damn sure Peaches and Cream.
Right.
Like, I bought part 3. Like,
exactly. But the thing is, so that music video, do you remember the music video?
Oh, well,
one, it had that girl, I don't even know her name, but she was in all the music videos then.
She was.
The dark-skinned chick.
Yes.
Eating that peach.
And they were pouring peaches. Syrup jumping everywhere. My lord.
Right. Nasty.
Simple.
But at the end of that video, they do Dance With Me,
yes,
you know, and exactly. So I think those like were looped together, you know, at least in my mind, as like the 2 big singles.
For sure.
From that, but yeah, Peaches and Cream, absolutely a great one. Great one. So yeah.
So we definitely want y'all to like let us know
who won.
Yeah,
round 1.
Like what was your favorite single?
Yeah.
So let us know. You'll see some things on social media where you'll get to vote.
Yeah.
But yeah, we want to hear from y'all.
Exactly.
What was your favorite single of the 6 we just talked about?
All right. Let's get into round 2.
Okay, round 2. So
yeah.
I think I'm gonna let you kick off round 2.
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna talk about we're pitting an album against another album. So
yes.
What album have you selected to represent Team 112?
Yeah. So my album, I have selected Room 112 for Team 112.
Okay, so you're trying to put some pressure on me. Gotcha.
So this one came out in 98. This one had one of the songs, So Love You Like I Did. This also has your girl, Lil' Kim, on it, you know, in case you might want to flip to the other side real quick.
Never.
Give them their due.
Never. But yeah, Kim is on this joint.
Exactly, on the only one, which is another single on here. What I also loved about this era of 112, so with them working with Bad Boy, they were able to just have what's the word that I'm looking for? They had access to certain artists like him, you know, and another artist that was on this album, and they worked with a lot with Faith Evans.
Ooh,
so there's a song on here, and this is, oh my god, this is in the next round, but I have to talk about it for a little bit. So it's called For a While.
Ooh, I love
and that's a good song. She worked with them a lot. She kind of became like their female vocalist voice for a little while.
She did.
Because they did that song, and then they were on her song called Caramel Kisses, which, I mean, if you want to talk about a deep cut that maybe a lot of people might not know about, check out that song, Caramel Kisses by Faith Evans. They provide some of the background vocals and the bridge, again. But with this album, it has what we were talking about a couple weeks ago with like intentional interludes that lead you into the rest of the album. So Anywhere also on this. And
this album came out
98. Yeah,
Lord
no business.
Okay.
We had no business.
Ooh, I was a smooth 11.
Yeah, I was a little younger, and I just I had no business listening to this.
You really did.
And none. And so, like, there was an interlude for Anywhere called the Anywhere Interlude.
Jesus.
And between that and there's an interlude right after the Faith Evans song called Don't Go Away, and that is maybe like 30 seconds, 40 seconds long. Yeah, like maybe 50 seconds long. And it's just, I mean, just listen to, it's just them singing. Yeah. And it's again that like begging and pleading. So basically, it's just essentially all they say is don't go away, I need you so, don't go away. And but the way that they're singing, and that's what it is. It's really the vocalizing that makes that interlude for me.
For sure.
But the way that they're able to harmonize on this record, this album, just the tracks on this album, it's a very cohesive body of work. And so yeah, I would say that, I mean, Diddy did this one right.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Room 112 is definitely the album that so if y'all want to go back, listen to it, you know, top to bottom, and let me know what y'all think in comparison to maybe some of the other 112 albums or the album that you're gonna put up for Jagged Edge.
For sure.
You know, feel free to do so.
You know, before I move on, I do think it's also interesting if you're looking at the album covers.
Yeah.
If you think about their first album, they real dapper with the white suits on. Then they pop up with the black leather on for the second album. It's like, okay, they might be hitting us with a little something different. Because a lot of times album covers can be indicators of
what the mood,
different flavor,
exactly.
Right?
Which I think
which I think is definitely the case with where I'm going with Jagged Edge.
Yeah.
So very similarly, very similarly actually. Jagged Edge on their first album cover is in suits.
Yeah.
But then you get to what, again, I consider their best album, and I touched on this last week, J.E. Heartbreak. And you see them in the white room with the all black on, and it's very... So again, when I say that juxtaposition of Boyz II Men, Jodeci, that first album, Boyz II Men.
Yeah.
That second album,
Cool High Harmony. Yeah.
Okay, you know, that second album, Jodeci. Okay. And they draw upon another, you know, force to be reckoned with, pioneer, forefather of all of these groups we've mentioned, New Edition, for the J.E. Heartbreak title.
Exactly.
And that's it's a couple of things that I just personally feel.
Let me know.
Okay, if your album cover is lit, the music better be lit too.
Yeah.
And if your album title is drawn upon something that we've already had in the culture, that we've acknowledged that we love and respect, you got to come with it. So to name your sophomore album J.E. Heartbreak, that took some, for lack of a better phrase, you know, cojones.
Yeah.
So, but they did not disappoint though.
Yeah.
So right out the gate, they hit with "He Can't Love You."
Yeah.
And that, and I stop and I wait and I say, I mean, that's just it's such a good like lead.
It's very
track.
Love You Like I Did. It's very similar to that song.
It is. And it's interesting because the timing with them is about 2 years off, right? Like, 112 was on their second album when Jagged Edge released their first album.
Right.
But it's still very much so. You see, like, the similarities. But so, you know, they led the album. That was the first single. But when you... On the actual album, it opens up with the Heartbreak, like... It's like a minute-long track, kind of like an intro, if you will. And they're just like vocalizing over a piano. It's just, and it looks like Brian Michael Cox was playing said piano. It's probably the same piano that's on the album cover. But you know, they can take another heartbreak. Like, you know, I'm not, you know, trying to sing for y'all too much.
I mean, you
But,
are.
you know, I gotta give the people authenticity, okay?
Right. Absolutely.
But they're just going over that, and it's just like, oh, it's just so beautiful, and it's like that's like the piano is getting its shine, the vocals are front and center, and then it flows into like this kind of like definitely a hip hop tinge, like Did She Say, with JD, like, you know, of course doing his thing on there, but very much so this album follows. It's pretty like kind of like theme, you know. You're going through the ups and downs of a relationship. So you know they talk about the heartbreak, but then they get into this first song where you're talking about, okay, like your homegirls are telling you all this stuff about me, but did they let you know that they were trying to get at me? And you know what I'm saying, I'm a team you, right? You know what I'm saying. So talking about that influence that other people have on relationships, and then you get into He Can't Love You, and that song is just like, like. Good Lord. Like, he can't love you like I love you. Baby, and you know it too. Hot damn. Yeah. You should never want to be with the man.
There's a lot of confidence in that song.
It is. It's like, okay. It's very much so, again, you know, Love You Like I Did, you know, in that vein. But then when you talk about, like, so they have, again, this is one of their albums with some of their best known songs on it because, again, He Can't Love You, Let's Get Married, Promise, Keys to the Range, which was on, gosh, I'm forgetting what soundtrack that was on. That might have been like, was it the Down to Earth? I think it was on the Down to Earth soundtrack. Yeah. That Chris Rock movie.
Promise is another good song too.
Oh my God, Promise is an amazing song, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. Yeah. But like, you have some like really good album cuts on this album, and I won't get into all the deep cuts because again, that is, you know. I might talk about that soon, but when you get to like songs like What You Trying to Do, which is one of my favorite songs on the album, and just like that beat, it's like, I want to say that's a guitar that's really carrying that beat on that song, and just like the way that they sound on that. If you've never heard that song, go listen to track number 4 on J.E. Heartbreak, What You Trying to Do. But then they bring it back. They got a Ja Rule feature on there before, like, most of us knew who Ja Rule was, for real.
And when we still went up for him before he started doing all this homophobic trash that he's doing.
Oh, that's another conversation because I ain't even. Oh, good Lord.
It's okay. No, he was like posting pictures of 50 Cent with like makeup on and like calling him a fag and all this other stuff. So unnecessary, entirely unnecessary. But we can move on.
Yes. That disturbed my spirit. But so then, of course, you know, you got a couple of other tracks. You get to Let's Get Married. We've already talked about how amazing that song is. But they follow up Let's Get Married on the album with a song called True Man, which is definitely like it's one of those gems in their catalog that it's just a really beautiful song. But it's talking about like you can't handle a true man, like a man that's pretty much doing what he's supposed to be doing. So again, we're going in these in and outs of relationships and who's valuing who, like how our outside influences get in the way of things. Very much so heartbreak, because in order to experience heartbreak, you gotta experience love. Right. You know, so I think that with this album, they do a good job of giving you all of that. Of course, a couple of other tracks, but then Promise, which, referring again back to that Unsung episode, they say that Promise, so the same twin that apparently dated Candy was also the one that dated Latavia. Great. Because, little fun fact, I'm pretty sure everybody knows this, but the twins from Jagged Edge, Brandon and Brian, dated Latoya and Latavia. That's his child.
I'm so weak. Yeah.
And then, because if you look at the liner notes on the writers on the wall, both of them thanked them. Yeah. So I said, okay, they was in it to win it, but apparently, that twin, he wrote Promise about Latavia. Wow. But just, you know, again, just another beautiful song. And then, you know, you wrap up the album with, again, like, Keys to the Range, but the very last song, Lace You, is another, just a really good track from them. It's got, like, a nice little bump to it, but just a very, very good song. This album is
You a fan.
I am. I remember buying this album on cassette tape.
Wow.
And just playing it probably I played my tape,
Mm-hmm.
to the tape pop, whatever,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
I let my tape rock to my tape pop.
Thank you. Okay. that pre-show drink got me mixed up. But yes, so just an amazing body of work that I wish that they wouldn't have named a later album, J.E. Heartbreak 2.
Reference it.
Because it's, again, it's got to be strong because you didn't hit us with that before. Right.
But we're talking about the strong one.
You're right, we are.
Yeah, and we're doing that.
Listen to this album.
Yes.
And it beats out Room 112. Just want to drop that.
That's your opinion. You're free to have that opinion.
Just going to drop that on the folks, so they got to know.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's round 2. And for round 3, so what we're doing for round 3 is we're essentially just pitting our deep cuts against each other. We picked a couple of them, just 2.
Oh dang! I just get 2.
Yeah. You only get 2. And so what we're gonna do is we're going to essentially like pit them against each other the way that we've been doing. Mm-hmm. So from 112's first album, there's a song called "Pleasure and Pain," and they actually named an album "Pleasure and Pain" later down the road, which I think is indicative of the way that I don't know, or maybe the strength of this track, because this track will give it to you. It will give you pleasure and it will give you pain. It's just a great R&B track. Like, just it has the standard, like everything that you would need out of an R&B track is in this track. And then my second one is For a While. So For a While, the one that I talked about earlier, the song that they had with Faith Evans from Room 112, their album Room 112, which is another great deep cut. I don't know if it's cheating if it has a featured artist, but but no, it was a great song. So yeah, I mean I won't hold y'all too much, but those are my deep cuts that I'm gonna put up.
Okay, so I see your deep cuts, and I'm gonna raise you. So going back to the Jagged Little Thrill album, which is the album that comes about 2 years after. No, actually, Jagged Little Thrill maybe came like a year after J.E. Heartbreak, and. Well, let me check on that because now I'm curious. So like a year and a half after, God, it felt like a world
of time.
Yeah, between that. But so the last song on the album is a cut called Remedy, and Remedy is, if you're anything like me. And you enjoy a little music to set the mood.
I see.
You could probably just put Remedy on loop, and you don't need anything else on that playlist.
All right.
So that's enough right there. Why I think you should vote for that song. But it's just that song reminds me of like one of my favorite songs from off of J.E. Heartbreak, but it's like an even better version of it. So Remedy. Okay. Last track on Jagged Little Thrill. Check it out. It's a nice little in the mood, in the groove type of track.
Little body roll.
It's just so then the next deep cut that I want to put up is actually off of the album that came after Jagged Little Thrill. Hard. And the first thing off that was Walked Out of Heaven. So just to give you some context. But that song is called Visions, and it's track number 4 up there. And what I really love about that song is it has a very known, like if you know like soul, like R&B music, it has the sample in it from the song "You Are My Starship." You are my starship. Take me on a night. But the song's called Visions, and it's just really talking about I'm having visions of this girl like a warning. I'm waking up at like 6 in the morning, feeling like it really ain't healthy. Is she gonna be with me? I need to know. So, like, it's very. I feel like I'm connecting to a lot, but it's very almost like for that time a contemporary version of "Lately" by Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like that. I'm contemplating on whether or not this relationship is gonna last.
Yeah.
And again, like we talked about before, I think that these groups in their music and maybe just male R&B singers are typically allowed to be this way, but vulnerable
Yeah.
in love and relationships.
Yes. Yeah.
And
And
just
that's
as
what I
well.
really,
You
really
know what I
love
mean?
about true R&B.
Absolutely.
You know, because the trap and B doesn't give you as much emotion.
It's not. It's just like let's fuck.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you know.
Or like fuck you.
Right.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Or that.
it's either
Or
let's
that.
have sex or I don't give a damn about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is kind of indicative of the way that relationships are these days. But
ooh, a whole other episode. But yeah, so
Yeah.
those are the two songs that I put up.
Okay.
Amazing deep cuts. Check them out and check out the albums that house them for all of the deep cuts that we put up.
All right.
Hey.
Well, that's round 3. So I guess as far as conventional rounds, you know what I'm saying? Like that just kind of wraps it up.
Yeah.
So from that, you know, I guess if one team or one group wins your 2 out of 3, let us know. Or you know, if you think somebody is going 3 for 3, 112, just let us know what you think. But we can also just kind of talk about, because we've been talking a lot about what they did for R&B.
Sorry,
when they did it. What they did for R&B in the time that R&B was very popular. So 90s R&B male groups.
Right.
But you know, we can just kind of talk about how that's changed.
Yeah.
And kind of the current state of male R&B groups, and then also the current state of 112 and Jagged Edge.
Yeah.
Because haven't they both released something like within the last year or so?
Yeah, they both released projects this year. Like earlier this year. I mean, and
I'll be honest and say I have not listened to 112's.
Okay, so I listened to either all of it or most of Jagged Edge's latest project, Layover.
Was it a layover?
Don't make me talk bad about my boys. I mean, I don't have nothing bad to say about them. It's just, you know,
that's not a great album title.
I just make the news. I just report the news. I don't make it.
Yeah.
Something like that. But I mean, I think that it's not for me. It wasn't what I loved about them.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On a album. And I mean, like they don't sound bad or anything like that.
It's just not why you love them as a group.
Right. And so, and I will probably say that most artists who were really active in that era that they were really active in, a lot of those artists have struggled to maintain the same following until now.
I mean, the sound is just a little bit different now.
It is. The dominant, right. You know what I mean? You're not going to get a Jagged Edge single on radio in 2018 probably, unless it's like adult contemporary and I don't know that they're making adult contemporary music because they're still making like, you know what I mean? So, so it's interesting to think about both of them being in that space.
Right. But even with, I mean, I can't think of any groups that are like out and popular right now.
Not male R&B
groups.
groups.
Male R&B groups.
I think the most recent iteration of a male R&B group that was kind of had a buzz going for a little bit was Day 26.
For us, yes.
You know what I mean?
So, I mean, Mindless Behavior.
I forgot all about them little boys.
Yeah. And B5. Well, B5 predated
Day 26.
Day 26.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Mindless Behavior,
But both bad boy artists, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I mean...
I don't have much... I don't have much to say about Mindless Behavior besides the fact that they were a group that came after Day 26.
right.
So...
But Day 26, I think, had definitely a lot more... They had a lot more substance.
No, 100%. But
you know what I mean?
But Day 26 was... They had more of an they had an older following.
Oh, for sure.
You
For
know,
sure.
Mindless Behavior gave you a little bit of that, like,
Teen
B2Ks,
bopper.
B5, you know, like,
Yeah.
Scream Tour type of
For
artists.
sure. For sure.
Which was why I don't think either of us went up for them, like, talking about it,
No.
because we were already grown by
I was
then.
gonna say, yeah, we were like
But,
grad school. I was in grad
Yeah.
school, I think, with Miles Favors. So.
But yeah, but even with them, that was early 2010s, if
Yeah.
not sooner.
So guys, so that's even almost been 10 years.
Right.
They grown now. So I mean, I guess so with all of that, we talked about like the things that we loved musically from Jagged Edge and from 112.
Yeah.
So say there is a male group percolating somewhere,
Mhm.
you know, probably coming up, you know, out of a certain region of the country.
Yeah.
What would we want to
What would
see
we
from
want?
them
What would we
in
want?
2018? Well, yeah. What are we looking for from our
You
male
know what's
R&B
funny?
groups?
And I mean, we didn't really get this from either 112 or, well, some. What I was gonna say was, like, I feel like we don't need the dancing. Like, we don't really need the choreo right now. It would be alright, I guess. But I don't think people are really looking for that in their groups anymore.
Well-
Maybe in their big performers, but not in their, like, I don't know. I could be wrong. But I don't think right now. But I guess also what I'm thinking more so of, like, is, like, grown men. And I can't see, you know what I'm saying, like, a bunch of 30-year-olds trying to, you know what I'm saying, like.
But are we
hit
gonna
a-
be looking for a group of 30-year-olds as like the next male R&B group? Because they weren't in their 30s.
No. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm older. Like, I
Yeah.
would look for somebody that's, like, in a mid-20s to 30s range. Or maybe younger.
They probably gonna be like their like late teens, early 20s for real. If they come up.
Okay.
I would say
I
early
just don't
20s.
need them to dance.
Right.
I'll just speak for myself. I don't need for them to dance. You know, like, the harmonies have to be. I would really love a group with really, really good harmonies.
Okay.
Because what you with Mindless Behavior, you didn't get. Well, they weren't really singing. They were doing a little rap, little something cute like that. But I need a group that's going to be a group, not a group
For
where
sure.
there's no point of a group if everybody's singing in unison. You know. So
But
it's
there's
like,
only one person singing. Like,
Right.
we don't need a male R&B pussycat dog.
right. Exactly. So it's like, give me harmony and, like, just something that sounds good.
For sure.
You know?
Absolutely.
But what are you thinking?
I mean, so I agree. Like, the focus and the emphasis has to be on the vocal talent.
Yes.
I don't need any of the manipulations of the studio. And this is not me talking down on anyone that
Yeah.
does use those things. But I think when you think about the R&B male group tradition, it was very much so those groups, your New Editions, your Boyz II Men, your Jodeci's, your H-Towns,
Yeah.
on up to, you know, our guys here. Those guys, there was never a question of whether or not they could sing.
Right.
Like,
That's step
acapella,
one.
you know, over the music.
You know what I would really love?
Talk about it.
If somebody gave a male R&B group the June's Diary treatment. Like, if like a Kelly Rowland, well, I guess the male equivalent, well, I don't know. If like somebody who was seasoned in the male R&B game did that, and I mean, I guess it could be through a competition show, but just because when I think about June's Diary, they have, like, all of them can sing.
They're amazing.
And they're amazing, and they're making good, you know, they make good music.
Amazing.
And I would, and even if it's just been like EPs and stuff like that, it's just like, I want to hear that. I want to hear something from a group that just feels good, and there's no drama. There's no, like, we're gonna make this one the lead and leave all of y'all by the wayside. Like, no, everyone's gonna work together to make this good body of work.
But them ladies dance their asses off too.
Yeah.
So and so that's why I think, like, I'm a little bit different from you, because we are, most of the, like, cats that are considered R&B, that are, like, you know, your big artists or your very well known artists right about now. You know, your Bryson Tillers or your Tory Lanez, or you know,
or even from
Pusha
another
T.
avenue, Daniel Caesar.
Right.
Or
those guys aren't dancing.
Sir.
Those
yeah.
guys
no,
aren't.
no one's dancing right now.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Besides
Maybe
Chris.
Chris Brown. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I do think that I would like to see a male R&B group that is the full package.
Okay.
They can give you the choreo. Maybe that's not front and center because for those groups, like it wasn't front and center,
Right.
but they knew when to pull it out.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Just like Boyz II Men knew when to pull it out.
Mhm.
I don't remember Jodeci ever doing more than a two-step, but
Right.
you know they did that two-step.
Mhm.
So I do think that given the age we're in, you have to be able to deliver the goods on all fronts.
Yeah.
So I do want them to be able to like entertain, and I think a part of that is going to
Okay.
be movement and
Yeah.
dancing.
I wouldn't hate it. I was just saying personally, I don't think that I need it.
Yeah, that
you
doesn't
know?
have to be the focus,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but I do think though that so vocals, just quality music, and this is what I want to see from male R&B artists overall, and I think that we are starting to get that with some of the like alternative R&B. I think it's like with the what they're kind of terming it under,
Yeah.
like your Daniel Caesars and people like that.
Right.
But I want to see a broader range of topics.
Yes. No.
You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? Like,
yeah. Let's talk about
even-
something else.
Even if you're gonna talk about sex, find a more inventive way
Mhm.
to talk about
Peaches and cream.
it. Okay, 2018.
Right.
That kind of rhymes.
Mhm.
But I really want to see that, and I really want to see groups that have studied up.
Yeah.
Like they know
their
about
history.
is that they know that lineage. They are giving you music in that vein.
Yes.
Good quality music.
100%.
Yeah.
Well,
Is that
the battle is
I was about to
done.
say, it is.
You know,
It is.
let
It's
us
now in
know
your
what you all
hands.
think. Yeah, exactly. It's time for you all to make the decision. So
Yes.
let us know what you all think.
Write us a note.
112 versus Jagged Edge. Write us a note at gmail.com.
I feel like you would like stalling a bit on Jagged Edge because you
No.
wanted to put 112 out there.
No, I
And you
wasn't
tried
doing
to
that.
take
I think
time away
that
from my guys.
maybe that's something that's going on for you that that I didn't do personally. But maybe you just took that way.
Keep an eye
No,
on her.
no.
Mm.
All right, y'all. So let's wrap this up with our run that back for the week.
Yes.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I'm
and do
kicking this
yours.
off, right? So speaking of like throwback vibes and good music, somebody that has an album on the horizon
Yeah.
is coming out in exactly 12 days. I'm not anxious. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
But it's none other than Mariah Mimi Carey.
Yes.
Okay.
Shout out to Mimi.
I could go on and on about how I love Mariah, but that's not
Yes.
what this segment is about. But for my run that back, Mariah released a song off of her upcoming album titled Caution, again dropping November 16th.
What and I'm taking caution. I know she's coming.
Like,
so yeah, caution.
I said,
Absolutely.
Excuse me?
Yep.
No, ma'am. And she giving you emancipation vibes with that album cover.
She is.
Like,
I
and
think
like
this
the
is
back
gonna be
cover.
it. I'm so ready. I'm ready.
Yes, because Mariah has not released a bad project to date, and I stand by that. And y'all can debate me on social media. But yes, so her song is called A No No. And she, but I knew when I saw the song title, even in the track listing, I said, that's gonna be an interesting song. But I had also heard that she had a Lil' Kim sample
Yeah.
on her album, and I was like, oh God, like what song?
Right.
This half of them went and got the Crush on You
Yes.
beat,
Mm-hmm.
and then put it on her.
Yeah.
Like,
And made it like it's a little bit of like a bounce, you
yes,
know?
yes,
Because she switched up the beat of it.
She
You know, like
did,
she sampled
yeah.
it, but
it's like sped up a little bit.
it's sped up and it has a different beat to it.
Right, and she's playing, like, I like when people do things like this, and we kind of talked about, well, I remember talking about this with Sierra's song Sophomore when I posted that the other day,
Yeah.
but I love when artists, like, will play on, like, words or
Mhm.
beats, things like that, and so, it's like, I know, like,
Yeah.
da-da,
Yeah.
da-da, 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 like,
yeah.
but
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
that joint is a whole bop, y'all. Go
I love
check
how much
that.
fun she's having right now.
I do.
It's so exciting.
It's like we're definitely going back, like to for her most contemporary era. It would be
Yeah.
like Emancipation, where
Right.
she's just like giving.
And I love
giving
she
life.
has this line in it. I love Mariah. She gives better punchlines than some rappers, honestly, because she has this line where she was like, what did she say? She says, "If I was the only woman in the world, I'd be Ginger, you on Gilligan's Island." It reminds me of that. These chickens is ash and I'm lotion. I'm just like, Mariah, girl, like,
Like, how
You
can you
can't
not-
do nothing, but you know.
Just give her
That's
a
my,
chance.
that's my girl,
I
Mimi.
can't get.
That's all, you know.
I get my life from Mariah.
Oh my
And
God.
Mariah, she knows she giving us life too.
Exactly.
Ah,
Because
I
she was
love
just
her.
playing at the end.
Yes,
But
she
she
was.
was just playing
Giving
with
us
us.
that yellow.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
no,
my God.
It's
Oh my
definitely
God.
good
It's
to
fun.
see her
It's fun.
to be so deep in the game
Right.
and to
come out of, because,
Like,
you know, like
oh.
recently, you know, she shared with us that, you know, she was diagnosed with bipolarism and, you
Right.
know, all this stuff with like managing, being a co-parent with Nick Cannon
Yeah.
and like all that other stuff. It's just
public
like,
breakup since
yeah.
Nick Cannon, the manager drama,
yeah.
like
The alleged, you know what I'm saying, like sexual harassment, all that other stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, just give us something good. You
Yeah,
know, give us something
for
good
sure.
because you deserve
and
it.
she's giving it to us. I'm
She
so
is.
excited for this
She is.
project. What do you want to talk about for your run that back?
So my run that back could be a While You Were Sleeping, honestly, because I don't think that people really know about her as much. So
Mhm.
Seven Streeter.
Oh,
The
I
girl,
love Adele.
So the thing is, she's beautiful. The thing is, she can sing.
Talented.
She can dance.
She can
is
write her ass
yeah,
off.
she can write. She's just one of those people who, for whatever reason, has never really popped off mainstream.
yeah.
She's
had
but she
moments.
has some. Yeah, she's had some moments.
Yeah.
But so she has this song that she released recently. And both of these songs have good samples.
Yes.
And we be talking about samples all. It's because we're old. That's
Okay.
what it is. We love the old music,
We
so
do.
anything that gives us that nostalgia. But so this is one of my favorite songs in the world.
Yes.
So it's
Mine
so
too.
her song is called Yearning, and it samples Yearning for Your Love by the Gap Band, and it's just like
Shout out to Charlie Wilson and his brothers.
I love that song so much.
But like that's my favorite song by them.
Yeah,
That's my
and
favorite
it just
song by them.
yeah. It so with this song she samples it but she gives it like kind of like a bopping kind of flow.
That beat is insane.
It is.
You know
It's
the
really,
guy that
really
produced
good.
it is from Baltimore, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like an up and coming producer.
But yes, so check that out. It's just a really great song, and I think that you all will enjoy it because it's another fun song like Mariah's song.
Right.
But we have, I guess, a joint.
Yes.
Run that
we
back.
do.
An honorable mention, if you will, because we both talked about the song.
We
And
did.
we're like, might as well just
We
bring
gotta
it
throw
up.
it in.
Yeah, we gotta throw it in.
And it follows the trend of dope samples.
Yep.
And I mean we got
It goes back to the males,
yes,
the male
it does.
R&B.
And we gotta show some love to the homie that's from the hometown from VA.
Yeah.
Mr. Trey Songz,
Mhm.
Sugar Trey.
Tremaine.
Yes. And first and foremost, I just like that I'm getting like a song from Trey that's like it's not as overtly and blatantly
Just disgustingly
So-
sexual.
yeah, like-
and the thing, well, I mean,
'cause
did
he's
you
so
listen to
cute.
Tremaine the album?
I did.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
started like moving away
I
from
love
that
that
with
album.
that.
Yeah.
But this song, Shooting Shots,
Mm-hmm.
Trey Songz
Yep.
featuring Ty Dolla $ign and Tory Lanez. Do we want to tell them what the sample is? Because I was with somebody last night that I thought would get the sample right off the bat, and
Figure
it
it
took them a
out.
little bit of time. So
Let
I
us
say,
know.
figure that
Yeah.
joint out. But there's a good sample on that joint. But that's just a really dope song, and like the three of those guys sound really good
Right.
together.
I mean, Ty Dolla $ign, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Already went up for him.
Mhm.
And then Tory Lanez is even like, I appreciate his contributions
Yeah.
to the song.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so check out those 3 tracks. I guess this week's Run That Back was like the sample edition because
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
some good songs that have been rebirthed, given
Yeah,
new life
exactly.
through new music.
Exactly.
Man, it feels like it's never enough time with you all.
But we know that if we were sitting here for 3 hours of the podcast, you might not listen. So,
Okay.
on that note, we are going to wrap up this week's episode. But thank you all for listening again. Check us out on all of our social media platforms. We are now on Spotify, which is super exciting.
Yes.
Check us out on Spotify.
Yes, follow us on there.
Yeah, follow
New
us.
episodes will
Exactly.
automatically be shown there. And if
Exactly.
you haven't noticed already, new episodes are come on Tuesdays.
Yeah, they do. So look out for that. Write us a note at gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts. Give us some votes. You know, we really want to announce some winners for this week's episode.
Sure.
We're doing something similar, you know, maybe on a different side for the next episode. So just tune in. But anything? Thoughts?
Yeah, just follow us at OTN_podcast on Instagram. You'll get a lot of our audience engagement sort of things like that. If you follow me already, you'll see it on my personal page.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we really want to engage you all because, again, this show is about taking those conversations about music from just your people sitting in the living room to, you know, creating like a dialogue about music. So I'm excited to continue building with you all, and it's been great. So
absolutely, we will see y'all next time.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
Peace. Okay. I was wondering if we should have announced that